Hey coaches, are you tired of running the same old drills during basketball practice? Is it getting boring? Are your players just simply not challenged? Well, I've got the answer for that. It's all about looking for other AAU teams to scrimmage either during your practices or on the weekends during, off weekends. That's what this video is all about. It's teaching you guys or talking to you guys about some different ideas on how AAU coaches can find other teams to scrimmage. I'm going to do this by talking to you about using local networks, leveraging social media and online communities, finding coaches and other teams that are nearby you when you're at tournaments, organizing scrimmage events, like different ideas that I've seen before in the past that I think might be useful for you. And then just talk about a few best practices for setting up those scrimmages, a couple red flags that I want you to watch out for in doing this. And hopefully this stuff will help you out as you jump into the season. So first is just, using those local networks. And if you're a brand new coach, you might not have any yet. But you'll develop them. It'll all work itself out. You can also, to develop these, you can really just reach out to nearby teams. In AAU's website, you can go on and find teams in your area. You can also Google that just to find those nearby programs. If you got an older team or a middle school team, you could reach out to the local high school basketball team. Maybe you can get the school team to scrimmage you, assuming you don't have a bunch of their players on your team already. You can just leverage your personal connections. Maybe you're friendly with the local recreational league, the YMCA. Maybe they have some basketball coaches that you could reach out to. That's just one simple way to do that, especially for new coaches that don't have a big network. Another easy way to do this is just leveraging some of the social media and online communities, Facebook groups, Twitter, Instagram, or X. Just type in Facebook like AAU basketball teams in your state or city, and you should be able to do it that way. You could maybe send them direct messages and reach out to them that way. Another way that I've found that's effective at doing this is just, when you go to a tournament, you're going to start recognizing where these people are from or these other teams. And if they're nearby, maybe an hour or so away or even less, strike up a conversation with that coach, exchange phone numbers, ask them if they'd be willing or interested in scrimmaging. So setting up like a friendly post-tournament scrimmage is a great way to do it. It's also a great way to save your team a little bit of money while getting them on the court playing a team, that is out there to challenge them. You can also build rapport with the tournament organizers. They all want to be friendly with you because they want you to come back and play in their tournament each year. So, connect with them and let them know that you're interested in playing, scrimmages with other teams, and they can probably get you some good contact numbers, or maybe they even have a team themselves. You can also organize your own scrimmages. You can invite multiple teams to these scrimmages. I've seen coaches, or I've seen programs out there that they'll have a small scrimmage at a gym of their choice, and they'll charge a fee that is much less than you'd pay at a tournament, and they'll do it on a Saturday or a Sunday, and they'll have quite a few teams there. They'll have it all set up, and they'll do it as a fundraiser, all while helping other teams come in and get a good number of games while not breaking the team's budgets. So that's something that you can do as well. Just doing, setting up a scrimmage or an event, just make sure you find a neutral location. Make sure it's, if you got teams that are 3 hours away, it might be difficult sometimes. But if the cost is effective enough for them, that might not be too far of a drive. Just make sure that when you're doing that, you're setting clear expectations. When you do like a round robin type where you're, setting up multiple teams, sometimes your scrimmages aren't going to be as effective as if you're playing one team, because you can't really pause the games and do that. But just keep that in mind. And if you do plan on doing that, or you don't plan on doing that, just make sure that you're discussing this with the teams. You're talking about the length of the game. You may have to have shorter scrimmages. It might not be a clock that stops. It might be a running clock. What are the rules? What's your tournament or your rules going to be like? You just want to make sure that you're very clear with that in the beginning, so that you don't have irritated coaches coming in. And then just some best practices that I've learned over the years for setting up scrimmages is, just make sure you're matching the skill levels with your team. You don't want to if you're a Division II or Division III team, and you don't want to get that like top rated team to come out to your practice gym and scrimmage them. I mean, it just, you want it to be meaningful competition for your players. And so that's just something that I suggest. And I think most of you, when you start playing, you're not going to want to scrimmage a team that's just blowing you out of the water anyways. It won't be fun. And then, of course, just making sure that you communicate clearly and early with the coach that's coming out. Be transparent about your team's availability, the ages that are going to be on your team. Hopefully you have a team that is all the correct ages. You don't want to throw older kids on your team during these scrimmages. And then, of course, just, whatever the goals are of that scrimmage, make sure you're transparent. And then, obviously, probably the number one best practice is just keeping it fun but productive. You want these scrimmages to be set up for growth of your players, not just a win, right? So keep that in mind when you're setting them up. I do have another video that I posted not too long ago about scrimmages that talks all about that and just some effective ways to do it. And I'll post that in this video. And then, lastly, some red flags to watch out for is, the overly competitive or undermatched teams. So if you're, and I talked about this a little bit ago, you just don't want those competitive teams that are going to come in and just be, relentless and just, pressing and not letting you get the, just not giving you a chance, or your team a chance to practice what it is that they're going out there for. I believe that scrimmages, you need to be able to have that flexibility where you can stop a game or walk over to the coach and say, hey, can you run a zone defense? I want to see if my guys can run this offense. Or, hey, can you press us this time? Or, hey, can you do a half court press? I want to see how my guys or my team handles it. And if you've got those overly competitive teams, you can see them saying, no, we want to do this. We don't want you to get a chance to it. We want to, dominate. We want to run it the way we want to run it. You want to make sure the scrimmage works for both teams. And then, of course, like poor communication, right? Some teams, they have players or coaches that, maybe they're just unorganized, and, they have, 20 people on the team and only half of them show up, and they, maybe they just, if they're all just discombobulated, you don't want to, and they're not showing up on time, they're canceling last minute. You don't want to plan to have a team come in and maybe use your gym during your practice night, and you're planning on a scrimmage, and then last minute the coach is like, hey, I can't make it tonight. The team can't make it, or I only have 4 players showing up. Can we borrow one of your players? That gets to be sticky. Obviously, we got to be flexible in this industry. But if it happens all the time, that's a red flag to watch out for, and you're better suited to find a different team to compete against, especially on a scrimmage. That's pretty much it. Like I said, I encourage scrimmaging. It's a great way to save a little bit of money in your team's budget while still getting out there in the court, and you can get a lot of things done. You can practice a lot of things, especially new concepts before you go out. This is the perfect way to do it. And these are just some of the ways that you're going to find teams to scrimmage with you. So if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. Put any comments or questions down in the comment section below. Thank you.